Thank you for joining us on the Legends Edition. My name is Kasavuli. Of course, this is KBC Channel 1, the channel that gives you the most comprehensive news coverage in Kenya and East Africa. Of course, tonight on the Living Legends, as usual, we are going to have a special guest. And well, if I just have to tell you a little about this guest, he is a gospel artist and he is charting his way to other dimensions. So please don't go away. Stay with us. I'll let you know who it is soon enough. And now our sign language interpreter is Lucy Maora. So thank you so much for joining us. The government is racing against time to ensure all learners transition from primary school to secondary school. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says nationally there has been a 93% transition rate, though some counties, including Nairobi, have reported a turnout below 80%.
In a tiny house located deep at the heart of Nairobi's Mukuru Kwanjenga slum, it is a Saturday like no other. The family of Yvonne Mwende is welcoming a high-ranking delegation from the Ministry of Education.
I'm told she's around here.
Just like thousands of girls her age, Yvonne has been unable to join high school due to childbirth and other economic challenges beyond her control. Today, she gets to make one of the biggest leaps in her life. For the next 4 years, Yvonne will be a student here, thanks to a spirited outreach which ensures that girls her age do not miss basic education.
Mwende B has had a baby who is 5 months, and the mother is going to take care of the baby. I've also spoken to the principal, who has welcomed us here very well, to ensure that she's further counseled properly so that she doesn't make another mistake. These two girls will be fully catered for by the government through a scholarship.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has been leading such mop-ups since Monday.
We have mopped up to 93%. There are now about 10 counties that are at about 100%. Another 20 that are at over 95%. The coast is doing very well. In fact, Tana River and Lamu are approaching 100%, together with Mombasa.
Magoha says the biggest chunk of students who are yet to report to school reside in cities such as Nairobi.
It is so important that we have children at school rather than in the slums that you have seen for yourselves, because the slum life is hopeless. So to say that we should make sure schools are ready first, let them go to school and we correct the schools.
The government is hoping that by the end of next week, girls such as Yvonne will have taken their rightful places in various schools across the country. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says that the government will stop at nothing until all learners are enrolled to school, with the focus being in the informal settlements. Nancy Okware, Legends Edition.
Thank you, Nancy, for that report. Deputy President William Ruto has downplayed the withdrawal of the elite GSU officers from his residence, saying it is a plot to distract his march to State House. Ruto, who spoke for the first time since the incident on Thursday, says he will not engage his detractors as he is busy laying modalities for his bottom-up economic approach.
The final rites for nominated Senator Victor Prengay, who died in a road accident 2 weeks ago. His family, friends and colleagues gathered to bid goodbye to the young senator who represented the youth and the marginalized Togiek community. A solemn ceremony but with heavy political undertones. The first time Deputy President William Ruto was speaking publicly about the withdrawal of the elite GSU officers from his residence on Thursday. The Deputy President downplaying the development, claiming it was an attempt to distract him from concentrating on his presidential bid.
Wale wengine mutanisamehe kwa sababu I may not be available to engage with you on matters sharing positions and sharing power, and who has security and who doesn't have security.
Ruto says his focus is on laying modalities and promoting the bottom-up economic model, accusing his detractors of being obsessed with power sharing.
I believe that before we discuss our positions as leaders, we must first have a plan on how to create jobs for millions of young people. Before we discuss how we are going to share power, we must first have a plan on the empowerment of ordinary businesses and farmers.
But while he downplayed it, his allies were breathing fire, accusing senior government officials in the Ministry of Interior of politicizing security matters.
We need to understand, given the events of what is happening, because the law is very clear that the deputy president, the president, the state house and the lodges, state lodges, must be guarded by the GSU.
On matters to do with security, let us not politicize security. When it comes to security, iwe ni ya mjumbe, ya governor, ya whether they support who or they don't support, the issue of security should not be politicized.
That position that we hold is a position that must be respected. Si kwa sababu ya mtu.
While calling for cohesion in the cosmopolitan Nakuru County, Ruto's allies insist that the deputy president is their best bet in next year's general election. John Jacob Kuria, The Legends Edition.
National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has challenged leaders to uphold respect and discipline as they engage in politics ahead of the 2022 elections. Speaking at ACK St. Thomas Cathedral, Kerugoya, Muturi took issue with certain leaders that he said are exchanging insults via social media, saying it is a sign of moral decadence. Elsewhere in Kakamega County, area members of parliament remain divided over who to back as president come 2022, even as ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi maintains he will be in the presidential ballot.
National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi was attending the Diocesan Education Day at ACK St. Thomas Cathedral, Kerugoya, accompanied by NAK Kenya Party leader Martha Karua. The two reflected on the ongoing political discourse. Speaker Muturi reminded leaders of their role.
So when we as leaders engage in endless quarrels, it is a sign of moral decay. And I think we need all to soul search and ask ourselves, where did the sun begin beating us?
NAK Kenya Party leader Martha Karua welcomed Speaker Muturi's presidential ambitions.
I'm aware of his ambitions to lead the country. And I keep telling him, my brother, your dreams are valid. Let Kenya have a rich menu of candidates. Let us not be limited in our choices of who should be the next president of the Republic of Kenya. Hata kama iko wengine wanataka kuja wakuje.
Elsewhere in Kakamega County, area MPs remain divided on the most suitable presidential candidate.
So sisi tunasema hivyo kwa sababu Musalia kwanza hako na watu wengi. Sisi Waluya tuko na watu wengi sana. Jambo la pili, Musalia anajiweza kutawala. Kiangalia uchumi wa Kenya, yeye ndio anaweza tatua mambo ya uchumi ya Kenya.
Sisi mambo ya kuungana tuunge mtu mwingine tumekataa. Tunaambia Raila tumemuunga safari 6. Wakati huu akuja unga Mului.
Nilikuwa nikimtukana Raila kuanzia asubuhi mpaka jioni. Na nikimsifu sana Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi. Mimi kuingia kwa Mudavadi, ninaenda kwa breakfast napata Raila amekaa hapo, Mudavadi amekaa hapa na ule mwingine amekaa hapo. Mjinga alikuwa nani? Haya. Sasa nataka niwaambie mambo ya kuongea juu ya watu ambao uelewi mambo yao, hiyo ni yenu.
This came as ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi met party delegates from Mount Kenya region. Mudavadi says the party's nominations will be free and fair.
Mambo ya coalition na nini, I will not put my signature to anything until ANC top organs have finally said we are satisfied. So that is something that we must also understand.
Kevin Washira, Legends Edition.
Well, and it is back with a bang. Miss World Kenya Beauty Pageant is back after a one-year break due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The pageant is celebrating its 70th anniversary today and will crown Kenya's representative to the global event slated for December this year. ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Mushero graced the event. Let's now cross over to the village market for the glitz and the glamour.
This Miss World competition in Puerto Rico. So I want to wish the contestant who will win all the very best as they go. And Terry Mungai, thank you for carrying this mantle for the country for the last 19 years. I want to assure you that as a government, as a ministry, we will step up and we will come and we will support you. I will talk with the Ministry of Culture as well. We will sit and we will come and support you. This talent that we've seen here represents our country, the beauty of our country. And we want to make sure that we appreciate it and that we work with it and that we're able to move forward to the next level.
Well, all the best to all the contestants. And of course, we now take a break. And when we come back, of course, we tell you more about the gospel artist, Reuben Kigame.
Serikali ya KANU iongozwa na kiongozi shupavu katika kontinenti la Afrika nzima, na ndipo basi rais na KANU na serikali ikajitolea na wakauliza hata wapinzani na kila mmoja aungane na sisi sasa kuhakikisha kwamba tunatafutia vijana wetu nafasi za kazi.
To get Nissin Creed as your skiza tune, dial *811 *963#.
We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, maker of heaven and earth and all that is seen and unseen. We believe in one Lord, Jesus Christ, the only Son of God, eternally begotten of the Father, God from God, light from light, true God from true God.
To get Nissin Creed as your skiza tune, dial *811 *963#. *811 *963#.
Welcome back. Kibugi Funeral Home in Kutus, Kirinyaga County, has denied claims that it has released 67 bodies of people who succumbed to COVID-19. The funeral home's management says, contrary to reports, the home has released a total 18 bodies of persons who succumbed to varied ailments. The funeral home was responding to claims that 67 victims of COVID-19 were released for burial on Friday, raising fears about the severity of the pandemic in Kirinyaga County.
For the better part of Friday, social media was awash with photos of caskets lined up for clearance at the Kibugi Funeral Home. It has been alleged that the coffins belonged to 67 people who had succumbed to COVID-19.
Kutoa watu 67, tumetoa watu 18, and it is confirmed and to my records that they are 18 deceased.
But in a rejoinder, the Kibuge Funeral Home has rebuffed the claims, saying it only released the bodies of 18 people who had died due to other causes.
Wingi wa watu ulikuwa, that is, wakikuja kuchukua watu waamini waliodezao. Sasa watu wanaona kama kuna watu wengi, lakini wingi wa watu ndio ilikuwa.
The photos raised questions about the severity of COVID-19 in Kirinyaga County. The funeral home says it is perturbed by the reports alleging it released 67 bodies, whereas it has a capacity for 32.
Wingi wa watu ulikuwa, that is, wakikuja kuchukua watu waamini waliodezao. Sasa watu wanaona kama kuna watu wengi, lakini wingi wa watu ndio ilikuwa.
The incident comes amid concerted efforts by the county governments to ensure burials are conducted not later than 72 hours after demise.
A family in Nyakongo village, Rongo, Migori County, is seeking help from well-wishers to enable their kin get medical attention after a road accident along the Kisi-Migori Road. Tom Otienongare was hit by a speeding vehicle at dusk when he was headed home from work and was admitted to the Royal Medical Hospital.
Accident victim from Nyakongo village, Rongo, Migori County has no funds for surgery to remove an intrabone metal inserted to fix one of his broken limbs. Otino, the father of 6 who has since lost his job, has difficulties in walking as the affected leg cannot bend. The corrective surgery is estimated to cost 380,000 shillings.
Na niko na watoto wanaenda shule, msijana yangu alipita anaenda form 1. Sasa nimejaribu, hata nimerudi kwake, nikamwambia mtoto amepita, akasema enda kwa MCA yako, enda kwa MP, enda hata hapa serikali iko hapa au wenu, hata governor uongee na yeye. Nikamwambia hayo yote hawezi saidia, nimejaribu yote, nimetoka bure.
You can send your contribution through M-Pesa number 0701 337049. Elsewhere, 2 people have been confirmed dead after the fire razed down residential houses in Kirugoya town, Kirinyaga County. A 3-month-old baby and a 30-year-old man were confirmed dead in the inferno. Property worth millions of shillings was destroyed in the incident.
Sasa vitu zangu zote zilienda za mamilion, juu nilikuwa na pamphlet address, juu nilikuwa na screen zile nilikuwa na haya. Vitu ile kama ya leo ningeenda kucheza mahali nilikuwa naenda harusi, yote machini yote imechomeka na saa hizi na kitu.
Meanwhile, Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala has petitioned the government to review curfew hours meant to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Malala says the curfew has inflicted a lot of suffering among Kenyans, claiming many people have perished in road accidents as drivers of public service vehicles speed to beat the curfew deadline.
Curfew rais imefinya wa Kenya sana. Unaona madereva siku hizi wanaendesha magari mbio ndio wafike kabla hata curfew ifike. Jana mliona mimi personal assistant wangu aliaga kwa road accident kwa sababu dereva alikuwa anaendesha gari ya shuttle ati afike kabla curfew.
Finally, Kenya Film Commission in partnership with Bomet County government has called on the youth to utilize the recently installed state-of-the-art film hub to acquire skills. Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok, while accompanying KFC CEO Timothy Owase, said the film industry is one of the areas the government needs to put more emphasis in a bid to cure unemployment among the youth.
I want to assure them that we will continue working together to empower our youth with skills in filmmaking to tell authentic stories.
As you know, content is only content if it's actually reaching the intended audience.
Timothy Kipnoso for Legends Edition.
greatest and most illustrious sons of this land, and he's none other than Dr. soon to be Dr. Reuben Kigame, a great gospel artist. Welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful.
Yes.
It's nice to see you. Who is
you
Reuben?
You should have warned me that you look this nice.
Oh, thank you so much
Yeah.
for the compliment.
Yeah, it's nice to be back to KBC. It's been a while.
Yes. You are a media person as well as a
Yes.
gospel artist. So
Yes.
where do we start?
And a
Do we
social activist too.
I know that.
And a trained teacher. That you didn't know, right?
A
My
trained
first,
teacher?
Yes, my first degree is a Bachelor of Education
Wonderful.
out of Kenyatta University. And so I wear many hats.
I know so.
Yeah, and I'm also a full-time parent and husband.
Yes.
People think that's a small task. It is a lifelong career.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
And you're also a great musician. You
Yes,
play.
I
How
loved-
many instruments do you play?
I play the piano,
Yes.
what people now call the keyboard.
keyboard,
I play the guitar. And my main instrument, believe you me or not, is actually the drum set. Even before I became a Christian, I was playing in a secular band. That's what I played.
Let's talk about your childhood,
Yes.
your growing up.
Mhm.
You developed a certain impediment.
Yeah.
And of course, it led to you being visibly impaired.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us about this?
Yeah, so at the age of 3, we were seated at the dinner table, and this is way back in Vihiga, in Bunyore. That's why I keep singing about sweet Bunyore. So we are having dinner, and I stretch out my hand, and the ugali luya is so big you can't miss it. Huh? So I missed it though, and touched the side of the plate. And my mother goes, "What? Are you becoming blind?" What she didn't know is that I was actually becoming blind. And what has happened was that I developed cataracts in both eyes. And cataracts nowadays are very easy to treat. But at that time, the medical services were not anything to write home about. So I gradually lost how to see. The condition is called keratoconus. It affects your cornea, and sooner or later the communication between your brain and your eyes don't quite work. So I ended up being blind from age of 3.
Now let's talk about music, because this is something that became a passion for you. I know. When did you start developing this? Was it when you were at Thika School for the Blind, or
So I discovered that I had an inclination towards playing instruments and or singing a little bit more than just doing it in the choir. So I would form my small groups right from primary school, and we would do music. So I would say, in terms of active inclination and developing it into my life passion, that picked up especially in high school. Yeah.
Okay. And this was
the high school for the blind in Thika. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, when did you start commercial?
Actually, it's a friend who discovered me when I was doing music for the church, and said, people need to hear this. This is something more people should hear. So we went to a studio. He organized everything, paid for everything, and voila, I recorded my first album back in 1987. And ever since, it's been a journey. 2019, I was doing my 29th album.
Well, let's talk about the Music Copyright Society of Kenya. Do you think our gospel artists, or even just other secular artists, are well represented by these organizations?
Now, the thing about the collection of royalties is that the royalties are collected, yes.
Are you
the
paid?
problem is always the payment of royalties now to the musicians. When the royalties are paid, they are either paid late or every so often, once every year or once every 2 years. And then, on the other hand, you don't get what you think you actually are supposed to be paid.
Now tell us, you have a wife, you have children. Have any of your children followed your path in music?
Almost all of them, actually. All my children sing, but there is my daughter, my second daughter called Shekina, that has written a lot of songs, and she has her own YouTube channel, Shekina Kigame. You know, she is also the one running the music school that I opened in Eldoret. She's also my main manager when it comes to the optics and also, you know, the marketing and distribution. Yeah, so she's in charge of a lot of that.
Now, you're running for president in 2022.
Yes, I am. Are you ready to vote for me?
Am I supposed to say it on air? I don't think so.
You don't have to.
I'll tell you later.
But I can tell you that I'm very passionate about where this country needs to be. I have lived through trouble. You've interviewed me about music.
Yes.
But going to school, Catherine, was hell. It was difficult. You know, just making it to where I am, I can tell you Kenyans go through a lot. Persons living with disability are hidden out there. Some of them chained in stables, you know, and some have never seen the outside of their compounds because they are believed to be a curse to the society. So I look at all that God has been to me. I look at you know, my understanding of where the common man is. I look at, you know, my ability to understand somebody who has no rent or who has no food. And I get appalled that 58 years after independence, somebody is hungry in Kenya when we have leaders. Those are not leaders. Those are not leaders, because this country is so blessed, and I am so bothered. I am bothered by where we are, especially because we become people without values. And my faith, as well as my journey, informs me that Kenyans deserve better. That's why I'm running for office, because I believe I'll bring to the table what Kenyans have never seen. Alternative leadership, a different way of looking at things. And allow me to chuckle a little bit here because, you know, maybe it is time for Kenya to have a blind president. Because these eyes, Catherine, have misled our leaders. Anything they see, they want. I want to be able to hear the cry of that single mother, you know, that widower. I want to be able to hear the voices of the youth. And I think I can do a better job on that than our seeing brothers and sisters.
Well, on that note, talking about good sound.
Yes.
Can I sample some of your music? You brought a guitar with you.
Okay, I was waiting for more broadcast questions. Okay, I brought my guitar here.
Yes.
And are you going to sing along, please?
Well, if you tell me...
Do you know a song that we can sing together?
Well, you pick one, I'll follow you.
Yeah? Okay, so... Bwana ni mchungaji wangu, sitapungukiwa kitu. Hunlaza penye majani mabichi, hunongoza kwa maji matulivu. Hunihuisha nafsi yangu, hunongoza kwa njia za haki. Nipitapo bondeni mwa mauti, sitaogopa, wewe unami. This one I know you know. Hakika wema nazo fadhili zitanifuata mimi, nitakaa nyumbani mwa Bwana siku zote za maisha yangu.
Wow.
You liked that one?
Yes, I did. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you so very much. Reuben Kigame has been our living legend on Legends Edition this Saturday. Of course, we have all walked with him. He has helped very many a young talent grow into great sons and daughters of this nation, helping people to grow, worshiping God through wonderful music. Thank you so much for being with us.
It was a pleasure to be with you, and I've always longed to meet you face to face. I'm so glad it happened.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So we'll be back with the rest of the news.
Good evening. I'm Topi Liambila with the sports segment of the Legends Edition. And in the highlights tonight, we have got the Tokyo Paralympic Games. Women's soccer Sekafa kicks up in Nairobi, and still tears and no joy for Arsenal in the English Premier League. Now, Kenya's Felix Kipruto finished 6th in the men's 1500 meter T46 category at the ongoing Paralympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. Kipruto clocked 3 minutes 59.98 seconds to come home 6th in a race won by refugee Paralympian teams Laremchuk Alexander, who timed at 3 minutes 52.8 seconds to clinch the gold medal.
Medals for Team Kenya in the ongoing Paralympic Games here in Tokyo, Japan continue to be elusive as Kenyan athletes once again missed out on the podium. Felix Kipruto, Kenya's only representative in the 1500 meters T46 class, failed to impress, finishing in the 6th position in a race won by a Russian who was running under the IPC flag, who clocked 3 minutes 52.08 seconds. Kipruto, who posted a personal best time of 3 minutes 59.98 seconds, said he failed to react at the bell.
Na nilikuwa inaifeel niko comfortable, but niyo kumalizia hiyo the last 300 meters ndio mkuu ilikwama, mkuu moja ya right ndio ilianza kunilemea, mkuu moja ilijaa.
Despite Kenya missing out on the podium, our neighbor Uganda's David Emong got a bronze in the race and asserted that the medal was not just for Uganda but for the continent of Africa.
We Africa now we are supposed to be proud of one another. If the one country win from Africa, now we are supposed to be proud, and we must be united together.
Tomorrow, the athletes program continues with our ladies Nancy Chelegat Koech and Mary Waithera Njoroge featuring in the heats of the 1500 meter T11 class. Meanwhile, Kenya's lone para-rower Asia Mohamed Sururu, who finished 6th in today's repechage women's single sculls, will take part in tomorrow's classification event. Reporting for KBC Sports, Legends Edition from Tokyo, Japan, I am Elina Shveka. Over to you, Topi Liambila.
A big thank you to Elina Shiveka, who is bringing us the daily report from Tokyo, Japan. And remember that KBC Channel 1 brings you a compiled edition of the highlights after the news from 10 p.m. So stay, don't miss the action tonight. And back on the local scene, the Sekafa Cup. Uganda's Lady Doves FC and Tanzania's Simba Queens began their Sekafa Cup Champions League qualifiers by registering wins as the tournament kicked off today in Nairobi. Lady Doves thumped Djibouti's FAD FC 5-0, while Simba Queens saw off Burundi's PVP FC by 4 goals to 1. Both matches were played at the Nyayo National Stadium. Kenya's Vihiga Queens will open their campaign tomorrow against Commercial Bank of Ethiopia.
Uganda's Lady Doves registered an emphatic 5-0 win against FAD FC with goals from Ritisha Nabosa, Fazila Ikwaput, Alupo Nora and an own goal from Nastejo Robel Jama, ensuring that their side began the qualification on a winning note. Lady Doves will face Simba Queens on Tuesday in their next fixture, while FAD will score it out with PVP. In another match, Simba Queens beat Burundi's PVP 4-1. Kenya's Vihiga Queens will face CBE of Ethiopia in the opening Group B match on Sunday. Vihiga Queens, Kenya's sole representative in the 8-team tournament, will also face Zanzibar's New Generation and South Sudan's Yei Joint Stars.
Kitu yenye najiamini, nataka nifunge goals na nikwe tena best striker.
The tournament will culminate on September 9th with the win of the final, clinching sole slot to represent Sekafa region at the inaugural CAF Women's Champions League finals set for later this year in Egypt.
On the international scene, again, there's more athletics, where Wycliffe Kinyama led compatriot Ferguson Rotich in a 1-2 finish in the 800 meters during the Paris Diamond League meeting held today in the French capital. Mal clocked 1 minute 43.94 seconds to win the two-lap race ahead of Rotich, who clocked 1 minute 44.45 seconds. Margaret Chelimo finished third in the women's 3,000 meters in a time of 8 minutes 21.53 seconds. Fellow Kenyan Beatrice Chebet was 11th in the race won by Francine Niyonsaba of Burundi. The Paris meeting was the 11th leg of the 2021 Diamond League season, with the 12th leg set to be held in Brussels on the 3rd of September this year. The final two legs will be held in Zurich and Rabat, Morocco, respectively. Back on the local scene, volleyball and defending champions GSU remained on course of retaining their title after seeing off KPA by 3-1 in the men's national volleyball playoff match played at the Makande Social Hall in Mombasa. GSU had beaten KDF in the opening match on Friday, followed it up with another hard-fought win against KPA, winning 3 sets in 25-16, 21-25, 21-25 and 18-25. In other men's results, Prisons beat KDF 3-1. KCB bounced back to beat DCI in 3 sets in the women's contest. The playoffs, which have attracted 4 men and women sides, will culminate tomorrow with top 2 sides facing off in the final, with the winner being crowned the national champion. The motor racing scene, preparation for Kenya's round of the 2022 World Rally Championship have started barely 2 months after this year's event was successfully staged. The clerk of the course, Govir Barbara, says the aim of kicking off the preparations early is to correct mistakes made during the last edition. Meanwhile, Kenya Motorsport Federation has confirmed that Machakos Rally, set for Sunday, will be held without spectators.
Borrowing from feedback received from fans and stakeholders, preparations for the 2022 WRC Safari Rally have already begun, intent on correcting mistakes identified from this year's edition. Clerk of the course, Govir Barbara, says some of the stages are worn out and need grading as part of the preparations. In total, there will be about 10 stages, out of which 9 will be done twice. Meanwhile, the trio of Baldev Chaga, Karan Patel and Carl Flash Tundo are among the premier class drivers gearing up for the 5th round of the KCB Kenya National Rally Championship KNRC, slated for Sunday.
We had a bit of a small test last weekend, did a few kilometers and getting a bit more settled with the car compared to what we were in Voi. So let's see how the route is and we'll tackle it from there.
Eric Benji, Jasmeet Singh Chana and Issa Amwari shall also resume their hunt for championship points in the Kenya Motorsports Club organised round as members of the Premier class.
Safari, it being the first rally and first time to drive the car, everything is just being thrown at you. So Tanzania is now more of an environment that allowed us to settle down and then keep building and keep developing our skills. So hopefully now I'll take those lessons together and put them in the Machakos rally.
I'm really looking forward to the weekend. We're not driving our Ford Fiesta. We'll be driving the Evo 10. So we will have an advantage on the straights, but there's a good equilibrium balance between the Fiestas and the Evo, because the Evo has a better top speed and it's more stable at high speeds.
I was very pleased with my performance in Tanzania. We showed a lot of great pace. Now we know that the pace is there. We just need to drive clean and get more reliability into the car.
The Machakos Rally will be the 5th rally competition this year after the Nakuru Rally, the Equator Rally, the WRC Safari Rally and just concluded Voi Rally.
After losing to Bradford.
After that exciting WRC rally recently, it's a pity that the fans will not be allowed at the Machakos event. But that, of course, is abiding by the COVID protocols. Now, on the international scene, the EPL, Arsenal once again failed to score a goal in the 3rd successive game of the new Premier League season, going down 5-0 to Manchester City in the early kick-off encounter played at the Etihad Stadium. City, who are without key playmaker Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden, proved far much better than their opponents, who have now lost their opening 3 matches. Let's take a look.
After losing to Bradford and Chelsea respectively, Arsenal suffered another Premier League defeat to Manchester City, with Guardiola's side proving to be far much better than their opponents. Ike Gundogan opened the score in the 6th minute, before Ferran Torres added a second in the 12th minute.
Which is delivered by Jesus, it's tantalising and it's in! And it's Ilkay Gundogan, who scored more goals than any Manchester City player in the Premier League last season.
Now the ball does come in from Silva. He's taken a touch all the way through for Ferran Torres to make it 2.
Arsenal looked weakened after Granit Xhaka received a red card for a bad tackle on João Cancelo. It took City few minutes to add a third, with Gabriel Jesus forcing a 3-0 half-time lead. In the early minutes of the second half, City added a 4th through Rodri. Ferran Torres added the 5th for City, who proved to be serious title contenders this season. Arsenal have now lost their 3 opening and sit bottom without a point. Daniel Mwendwa for Legends Edition Sports.
What a pity that Arsenal still no joy yet in the English Premier League season. But of course, this is just the beginning. Maybe things will turn out better. And of course, that's a wrap for the sports segment of the Legends Edition this Saturday evening. Remember that the Paralympic highlights come at 10 p.m. from here on your KBC Channel 1. And for now, I'm Topi Lembile saying bye, and over now to Catherine for the wrap-up.
And on to other news of the day. A nurse in Mwingi, Kitui County has shown a rare kind of gesture by constructing a permanent police station for officers operating at Ngaye Police Post. The officers were initially operating under a tree. Regina Madhuva, who runs a private clinic in Mwingi town, says she sought permission and Chuso Sub-County Police Commander, who gave her a go-ahead.
Charity begins at home. For Regina Madhuva Anas in Mwingi Kitui County, this is the adage which gave her the urge to make a noble difference.
There was a day I needed some assistance from the officers in this post. And then I visited here seeking for assistance. Then I found the officer was living on his bedroom.
Regina says she once visited the Ngai police post with an issue she wanted resolved, and what she saw moved her.
There was nowhere we can sit. So he directed me to sit under a tree, but it started raining. So we walked out to a nearby shop to hide ourselves from the rain. So after explaining myself and he served me, I went back. I started thinking the help I can give to this post.
She says from then on, the urge to give back to the community kept growing stronger and stronger.
Through Spindi Kuso. Then I wrote the letter requesting to be granted a permission to build at least a shed so that people who will be coming here can have somewhere to sit and wait to be served. So when the permission was granted, I started building.
Thanks to her sufficient philanthropy, the Ngai police post has a facelift.
Tunashukuru serikali yetu sana ya security kwa kuamua kutuletea hii post hapa Ngai. Manake Ngai imegrow, kuna watu wengi sana. Na ikiwa sio usaidizi wa polisi hapa Ngai kungekuwa na mambo mabaya sana.
Kuso OCPD Beatrice Kigalu say such acts of kindness towards law enforcement are rare, but they go a long way in public confidence.
Kwa hivyo ile kitu naweza kuwaomba wananchi ni watumie hii posti vizuri, waweze kuwasiliana na askari ambao tumeweka mahali hapo, wachukue namba zao, waweze kusaidika.
From a makeshift to a permanent home, all thanks to kindness which knows no boundary. Timothy Kipnoso for Legends Edition.
Well, we just want to say thank you to Regina Madhuva for such a noble act. Well, on to other news. A Kenyan man based in the United States of America claims he has been denied access to his son by the boy's grandmother, even after a court order granted him rights. Peter Gaithiaka says since December last year, after his relationship with the boy's mother hit the rocks, he has not been allowed to set eyes on the minor.
Peter Gaithiaka is a troubled man. He has been denied access to his son. Peter says his mother-in-law has refused to obey court orders and has also refused to heed to numerous pleas to allow him access to his little boy.
She has frustrated all my efforts to try and get access to my son. So I went back to court and the court granted me access 2 weeks ago. And up to this date, she has proceeded to kidnap my son. We do not know of his whereabouts at the moment.
His relationship with the boy's mother hit a dead end, and since then it has been drama after drama.
Helen said to me that if I am not in her daughter's life, then I should not be in my son's life. And I remember it became into a very ugly argument between myself and them, where what is my role in my son's life, right? Without being there, it became an argument. It became a topic of contention because I wanted to be in my son's life.
He says the grandmother has disappeared with the boy.
I was very close to my son when I last saw him. I still believe I'm close to him. My biggest worry right now is that I'm going to be a stranger to him.
He has vowed to fight for his son, even as he urged the family to obey court orders.
Well, and on that note, we end tonight's Legends Edition. My name is Catherine Kasavuli. Our sign language interpreter has been Lucy Mwaura. And of course, on the Living Legends tonight, we featured none other than Reuben Kigame, who is also running for President 2022. He's a great gospel artist, and of course, he entertained us. So you can also watch it on YouTube. I'm Catherine Kasavuli. Have a blessed evening. Love you.
Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
This week on Tech on Tech.
Being a 3D media artist entails so many things. There are so many areas. Personally, I've specialized in 3D modeling and lighting and a bit of animation.
We are looking at what effective use of social media.
It's actually the statistics that are actually out there show that a lot of Kenyans are actually on social media, especially the age group that you're speaking about.
We bring you tech news from all over the world, outstanding tech features, amazing innovations and inventions. Join us this Sunday and every other Sunday at 4:20 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Yeah. It's just I like the way they talk in a dramatic. There's always drama. Yeah. And I also like their accent.
Yeah, and they've even given me a name, by the way, on TikTok.